So what's evident right here is one of the purposes of the ALC is to start inviting people to team meetings. I would love to have this room full every team, every twice a month minimum. What should be a goal, Aaron? What do you think? 20 people in this room every team meeting? 25?
Well, I like to go big.
I know you like to
We
go
used
big.
to have 30, 35 here every team meeting before COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of times, yeah, so, but 20 would be great. If we had
Let's start
20
somewhere.
of our,
Yeah.
like, top people in here,
Yeah.
our leaders show up, everybody else does.
That's exactly right. We were talking about that earlier. If these guys do something, everybody else doesn't want to know why they're
around. They want to be around you guys.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. So this is your ALC for 2024. Does everybody know them? Yeah, I didn't tell them, but they each get 5 minutes. So Brittany, you're
Okay.
Did you see that look?
I stood in the bathroom.
Yeah. I'm kidding. So we do have a stronger focus on the ALC this year. We're gonna work really hard as a organization. We're gonna help grow their business as part of the ALC. That's one of the, for lack of a better word, perks of the ALC. The purpose of the ALC is to help grow the business for the people who are willing to commit their time to help grow the market center. Does that make sense? So that's part of my focus is to make sure their business improves however they want to improve, which is going to be different for everybody, right? And each of them are going to be a chair or co-chair of a committee. And we went over that, so they got about an hour of knowing what committee they're going to be a part of. So culture is going to be Marlene and Tiffany, which is a huge task, that particularly up until May, because we got to get ready for Red Day, right? And Brittany and Nancy, they're going to tackle growth, which we told them their focus is going to be just our career nights, right? We're going to try to get a lot of people in here for career nights. And the people that are part of the growth committee, we're also going to work on growing their business as well. So how growth with internally helps growth externally. Does that make sense? Makes sense? The tech committee is going to be Mal, of course, is our tech trainer, and Brian is going to co-chair that with her. So we'll be doing a lot with tech classes. And education is going to be Lauren and myself. We're going to work on education. What we're going to do with that for education is we're going to have our meetings before the 15th of each month to get agent-led classes scheduled for the next month. Does that make sense? Will the 15th be enough time? You can't hear me? Can you hear me? No? Yeah. Yeah. I really think I'm pretty loud. I guess I'm not louder than the gigantic HVAC system, right? You can hear me okay? I don't know. If you don't figure out what they can hear me all the way over there, can you figure that out?
Yeah, we can hear you on this side.
Yeah, y'all hear me just fine?
They're right underneath the unit.
Yeah.
They're not down here.
How about now? Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Just moved a little bit. Everybody can hear. So on top of that, if anybody has an idea for a class that they would like to have, let Lauren or I know, and we'll try to get it on the schedule. If anybody's willing to teach, let Lauren and I know. We will definitely get you on the schedule. Yeah, because I can promise if any of you all teach, it will get more appreciation and more attendance than if it's myself or Aaron or Lee, because they want to learn the people who are doing it right now. They want to figure out, how is Brittany doing what she's doing right now? How am I selling $8 million a year while taking care of 3 people? How does she do it? Because they want to learn from her. They want to figure out how did Marlene sell $4.5 million in the first year as a realtor. They want to learn things like that, right? So if we can get agents to teach agents, that's what we're going to grow fast. The people that are here really fast. Do you agree, new agent? Would you like to learn from the agents that are doing it right now? This is Teresa Basinger. If y'all haven't met her yet, new agent. She's also kind of a big deal. She's a big deal. County commissioner, and she's a big deal.
Over in
So,
Whitney
the
County
county commissioner.
with our
So
cows.
when you walk by, you gotta curtsy a little bit, just so you know, big deal.
A real country.
Yeah, and Of course, our ALC is gonna focus on being the cultural icon to the office as well. We're gonna meet once a month. Meetings will be scheduled for an hour. Hour and a half is the max of an ALC meeting. If it goes any longer than that, the ALC has to vote to agree to go longer than that. Anybody want to vote on going over an hour and a half after today's vote? We're working till 3 today. At the latest, 3 o'clock today. So I got a couple of questions I'm gonna ask the ALC as panels, but if you all think of some questions you'd like to ask them as well, that would be awesome. We just went over the big why a little bit. We all watched the Michael Jr. video. Have anybody seen the Michael Jr. video about the big why? No, you can see it. I've only posted it on our private page twice. So the first question I want to ask, and I'm going to do it teacher style. I ask the question, then I'm going to point at somebody in here. Anybody learn that in teaching? Yeah, ask the question to the entire class, so everybody's thinking about it. You just ran it the point. Answer the question. So why do you want to be a part of the ALC? The first question I want to ask. Why do you want to be a part of the ALC? All right.
Honestly, last year was a lot of like, this is what you can get from the ALC, but then after being on the ALC last year, that's why I wanted to do it again. I think that, everyone wants community, right? And whatever you're in, that's always something you look for is community. Who are your people, who are your like-mindedness, that feeds whatever you're driven to do, or they help you grow. And really the ALC feels that way to me. It's like a big mastermind, but, running the risk of sounding like butt pisser. You were the other reason, Ben, that I wanted to stay on the ALC. I was very much on the fence, and it was very much who's our team leader gonna be. Once I know that person, then I'll decide if I'm gonna be on the ALC. And knowing the amount that you're already pouring into us, knowing that you've proven your worth at another market, another state. That was a big part of why I knew I wanted to continue, but I don't know, I looked up to everyone that was on the ALC before I was on it, and I just want to be that person, I guess, and I'm being completely honest.
Thank you, and I'll give you your $20 later.
I didn't know me.
Thank you very much. And what was your volume for 23?
This was the thing that made me do was know my numbers. So my volume was 4.4 million.
And that's part of the team, right?
That's part of
the program.
It was actually my second lowest year in 3 years.
Yeah, that's okay. 23 was a tough year. 24 is not gonna be any easier. Just gonna let y'all know that. 24, we gotta work too. 24, we gotta work too. Marlene, why do you want to be on the ALC?
Like, I really like the culture here, so, like, just wanna help with that, help keep that going. Walking in years, like when I first got here a year ago, looking at the board and all the ALC members, and then like 1 year, I'm asked to be on this, like, with these people, and I just wanna give back, like, you know, like help give back and help new agents. Good?
Very good. That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
And Marlene is very emotional about being on the ALC, so give her grace, and we appreciate it too. So you get to be you. If you're emotional, be emotional. Brian.
I'm excited to see where it's gonna become, because I feel like it's always been one of the more underutilized things in the office as a whole. You know what I mean? I feel like as we were growing, it's just kind of set off to the side a little bit. Like we didn't get a chance to pour into it like we're going to this year. And I'm excited to see what we can do with it. We've accomplished great things already. And now if we get the ALC up and running the way it should be, and it sounds like you want it to be, we can get going in a very big way.
Yeah, I agree with Brian. I think Aaron and I talked about this at the ALC retreat back in October, which was my first meeting with any of you, is that we're still a young brokerage, and we're a young Keller Williams brokerage, which means, you know, we don't have people that have been at Keller Williams here for 10 or 15 years. Does that make sense? So we're still, as a brokerage, still learning the right way to be a Keller Williams brokerage and not being another brokerage. Does that make sense when I say that? So it's a growing process. The ALC is a growing process.
Could you define the ALC real quick? You know, one, I would like the clarification. I know we have a brand new agent as well, so just, can you give a quick, what's the definition? What is the ALC real quick?
ALC.
They're giving a reason as to.
Right, no, yeah, that's a good question. I will answer your question. So ALC is your Agent or Associate Leadership Council, right? So the ALC is the voice of the agents to the leadership of the brokerage, is the blanket way to say that. Does that make sense, Danny, when I say it that way? Bruce, does that make sense? They're the leaders, we'll call them Congress. How about that? They're like Congress. Congress represents their state, right? And they bring their representation of their part of the state to DC, right? Yeah, we're not gonna be DC because DC is broken. So we're gonna go back to Worth Philadelphia. But does that make sense? Am I wrong, County Commissioner?
I think it's just a really complex answer, but I get what you're saying.
So we put the politician on the spot, right? No, but, that's essentially what it is. They're a board for the agents and they're a voice. They will help in decision making. I will say they're not always the final decision makers, but they are a voice for the agents and they will be heard. If you all have questions, concerns, or things you think that need to be brought up, the ALC, that would be market center improvements, do it. It will not be done anonymously. I will tell you that if you want to make an anonymous recommendation to the ALC, it will be wadded up, thrown away, because when you start doing that, you start letting in things that you don't want to let in. Does that make sense? If you don't want to be heard, then don't speak. Does that make sense? But if you don't want to be heard, then you don't want to be a voice. And every one of you right now are leaders in this community, whether you like it or not. Do you agree with that? Does that answer your question? Or does that answer it okay for you, Aaron, Scott?
Would you say though that like come from contribution, I think was a term that comes
Yes.
to mind along those lines. So,
Yes.
I mean, there's one thing like, I wouldn't say complain, but like, if you have a concern, I would say,
Yeah.
bring ideas, you know,
Yeah.
if you want to change something, want something to be better. Bring that.
Yeah, I agree, but like, if you have a concern, you can bring it to me and I'll bring it to the LC, or you can bring it to one of the members. And they will say, hey, he saw this and he thinks we need to improve on this part. Let's talk about it. Yes, 100%. But if I hear somebody's second cousin, third sister from another marriage said this, then it's not gonna be heard. Do we agree with that? Nobody likes gossip, right?
When you say concerns,
Yes.
when you say concerns, can you give me an example of what you mean by concern?
Concern? I mean, if you think there's just an improvement we need to make in certain areas as a market center as a whole, that would be a concern.
Like scented bathrooms, or is it like, so you're just saying anything?
If you think there needs to be a scented bathroom, we can go to buy a candle, put it in there.
We do have like.
Is there?
What's that?
Yeah, but like, we have lobby conference for an upgrade.
You can lobby all you want to, you can lobby all you want to, but we're not gonna get in the weeds. It's for market center improvement, is what it is, that will help grow the market center. We're here to help grow the market center, not count staples.
So,
Does that make sense? Huh? Yes.
So say there's conflict degrees, stand place.
realistically though,
Uh-huh,
because I mean, I think we all talk in passing about, that,
uh-huh.
about the, being real estate agents, the market and all that stuff like that, but I mean, like, would you recommend that we go to, again, we probably gravitate to somebody who naturally trusts us and then just say it to them, that we
Yeah.
go about it?
They're your voice.
Yeah,
Yep. I think it showed up a lot last year.
yeah. I see, man, I got good virtual vision, I guess. Aaron, do you mind checking and see the question on Zoom? Matt?
I will say, just because this is a role that I've taken on in a lot of other places, if you need a soundboard and somebody to come to, and you're just not sure, like, how to put your words into thought, how to put that concern into something that's constructive, I'm happy to sit down with you, like, my door's always open, my cell phone's always open. So if you have something that you're like, I don't know if this is a big deal, or I don't know if this is even something that we can do, I don't wanna like present something that doesn't make sense, I'm happy to be that liaison for you, to sit down with you and have that conversation.
That's good, yes.
To answer you, I think something that maybe we're beating around the bush, but I might clarify too, is like, when you hear rumors about the market center, when you have concerns as an agent, you're like, did this really happen? Like, I think the worst possible thing you can do is go to multiple people. But what I do know that this happened a lot, in recent past, is, coming to the ALC should be one of your safest places to go. Like if it's something that you think is, you think it's a rumor, but it's just bothering you and eating at you enough and you can't get FaceTime with someone else, like bringing that to the ALC is one of the places where we're not gonna take it to anywhere else but the ALC table. So or I'm gonna reach out to Ben and say, hey, you really need to talk to Noya, he has this concern about something he heard. I think it's important to have that safe place, and I also think as adults and as mature agents and people and as coworkers in a way, going to each other is just how bad juju gets spread, so the ALC can be that.
I asked 3 questions because I wanted to get to the point, I didn't get to it. Okay, it's this. I feel like we're saying, hey, in a indirect way, if you have an issue, you can bring it to us. Instead of a direct, more proactive way. So I think about like family reunion last year, they had this station there where like, hey, you know, you guys can come in and tell us, like, when they just went around and was like, hey, anybody has issues with command, hit up command. And they're like, yeah, it sucks. Like, oh, well, what sucks about it? Well, there's no integration that I can go directly on my phone to make the phone call. Once the phone call is done, it'll automatically update that task, right? From that, so the family reunion last year, I didn't know they made that change, and then we were talking about it, it's like, oh yeah, now basically KW Command also, it basically works like Follow Up Boss, if anybody's familiar with those CRMs, right? So my point is, instead of waiting for us to randomly come to you, if we had a day, I'm not saying today, but if you're like, hey, listen, let's just have a family meeting, that's how we do it in our family. Hey, what are the issues that you guys are having? And then we'll probably open up, because if you want people to just randomly divulge, they're probably not, they got other things they gotta do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
no, I-
talked about doing something like that. I think we kind of did it. They were masterminds. My idea initially was to kind of start like a round table. And I think usually we have a topic that we're going to talk about, but sometimes you just want to come and just all be together, and it could be something that, you know, that it could be a concern of, you know what, like a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation or something about Canva. And sometimes as a newer agent, you don't even know what questions to ask. You just know that you're struggling in an area, and being around other agents, even if in that round table, another agent doesn't know the answer, they're going to say, hey, Mal's really good at Canva, so Mal would be a great contact person. So again, I think, I don't know if that kind of, because I mean, when you're talking about concerns can be so many different things. It's not just something maybe going on in the market center, or something going on in your business, or something that's going on in your home that you just need help because it's stopping you from, you know, leveraging out your business or something. I think that as far as being on the committee, this is my 4th year, your 5th year. And I think that when I came in this morning, I was like, wow, how are we gonna talk about our committee when I don't even know what committee I'm gonna be on? But I'm really excited because I love the fact that Ben was talking about how, you know, Brittany and I are going to co-chair a committee. And our growth committee is far broader than it was. It also is about helping, you know, the agents on our committee grow their own businesses. So that's just not about growing the market center. So I'm really excited about the committees and how they're going to look a little different. And it's because a lot of it to me was, okay, so I did the growth committee before. I just didn't really feel like I had a lot of direction. So anyway.
I mean, and
I think what you're gonna find with the ALC committee moving forward, just because I went to the ALC meeting and met Ben for the first time this fall with Marlon and Ryan and Karen and Lee. And I think for myself, I realized we're not Kellerin like we should Keller. So, when it comes to the ALC and other things beyond the ALC, you're gonna find that there's gonna be more definitive direction in what we're doing and more, purpose in what you're gonna see out there. And hopefully you're already seeing that at the beginning of this year. So just things are moving up, and we're so glad to have Ben with, especially with this ALC thing. I didn't know what was
get
happening.
your $20 fee. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, and to answer your question too, Noye, is my mindset is if you're coming with a problem, come with a solution with it. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Does everybody agree? And also, if some things come, they may not be an ALC problem, you may just get the answer when you ask the question. Does that make sense? But, Aaron, is it? Is it Aaron?
Yeah,
Okay.
Hey, Ron.
And I would say, don't allow yourself to be a garbage magnet, because if people view you as a safe place to bring nothing but toxic garbage, they're gonna continue to do that. So make sure that you're stopping them and asking them for a solution as well.
Yeah.
Because we've had that happen in the past too, where people just allow others to bring, or I'll call it garbage, but nothing but complaint. It turns into a big gossip session. And so I always like, let's pause, time out. So what solutions are you bringing or offering or providing to make this better? Because if you're just bringing problems, I'm not gonna be that place for you to bring those and just complain,
Yeah, what's the old law, garbage in, garbage out?
something like that.
Yeah.
I get the idea of bringing a solution, but sometimes maybe it's a problem beyond
Well,
where an agent
let
can
me,
bring a solution, so like, can it be a safe space where they can bring it to you, maybe you can help brainstorm? Because they may not, because it may be something,
well, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that. So let me rephrase that. Come with the mindset of having a solution
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Or even
that'd be a
just
better
desire.
way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Truly desiring a solution.
And also answer any tech questions that you have, right there. And the tech committee going forward. Is, yeah, damn right there. Any tech questions you have, and we're gonna have a lot more tech classes, and my goal, I think on the calendar, we have Scott Leroy at 1 to 2 every day. So my goal is to have that Scott Leroy on this screen every day at 1 to 2, that we don't have another class scheduled. So it's gonna be here. We can have that, his class, he does a command class every day from 1 to 2. Yes, sir.
I have
Scotty P.
a request to see if this is something that we can do, because I used to get, like on my calendar, like the meeting would be on the calendar. Could it be possible if the agents chose, if you're using, for example, like your Google Calendar, that all the training, all that stuff, could we opt in to
Working
that?
process.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Isaac's working on to make sure that it's clean to look at, and he shared it to my phone, so it's looking pretty good. So soon, we're just gonna share it to everybody.
Because I know sometimes like, oh shit, what did I see that was on here, it's over here, and I'm like, we all are just getting, blah.
Yeah.
So if it was just on my calendar, if it's on my calendar, it doesn't exist,
Right?
I would love that.
Yep, that would be perfect, and we're working on that as we speak, so yes, that will happen. I agree. Anybody else question for ALC? Bill D, would love it, Scotty Bill D,
Yay.
no regrets.
Hopefully somebody will show up.
Anybody have a question for the ALC? Nobody has a question for the ALC? That's it.
Or is it like, we wanna join or help, what is it that they need from us, like what
Okay.
specifically?
That's a great question. So I'll say that. So if you want to be on a committee, which we're gonna, each person up here will call and invite people to a committee. And we're gonna invite people in South Bend, we're gonna invite people in Columbia City, we're gonna invite people in Warsaw, we're gonna invite people in Cedar Lake, even Angola. Even Angola. So we're gonna, you will get a call if you have interest in either the committees, reach out and say, hey, I would love to help. It's gonna be a Zoom meeting a month. That's it. So the culture committee, okay, so the culture committee, their focus from now until May is gonna be Red Day. What are we doing for Red Day? How can we get the biggest involvement in Red Day? That's gonna be the focus. What are we gonna do for Red Day? That's gonna be the focus. Culture committee is a big deal, but it's also fun, and then after Red Day, we've already got some, market center activities planned for just about every month. But they will also plan some future things. I don't want us to be just about Red Day. It's a Keller Williams community. We want to reach out and be a part of the community more than just the second Thursday of May. Do we agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be a part of a committee, if you know one that you want to be a part of, reach out.
Y'all are happy. Committee.
Thank you, girl.
And but what I'll do with that, just like we're doing for the ALC today, is we're gonna plan every ALC meeting for the year today. And it's gonna be put in ink, and that's the day that we're gonna be here. So with the committees, when they decide what they're gonna do, they will schedule out their meetings for the year, so you have them on your calendar and you know when to be on. Does that make sense? And it's a very important job for the market center, but it's gonna be a win-win, because we're gonna help you also. Does that make sense? Anybody else have a question?
I'm not sure if it's really a question, but it's more something I picked up, like when I first was hired here, and I learned about the committees. I think that agents told me a lot, but it's the one problem I would think. There was no, I mean, I think it was a strong 30 days, and then no one really, there was no direction. So I guess kind of going into this new year, what do you guys, to make sure, I mean, there's consistency, I mean, what is kind of your action plan to ensure that, you know, because committees, I mean, everyone's investing in it, both leader and just members, so I guess trying to make sure what proves some people like, now I'm doing something that will last, you know, and just won't die immediately.
Anybody? Yeah.
I would say accountability is key. James Shaw talked about this on his pivot call this morning. And so for us,
If you're not on Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group, join Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group. It's phenomenal. Sorry.
it is, you're right, no. But I think accountability is the only thing that's gonna make that happen. And so for us, as the ALC committee, we've got Ben, right? He's our accountability. We're gonna put a lot of weight on his shoulders to make sure he's asking us about committees. And then from there, it trickles down to us. We know what we're supposed to do from Ben, and really the only way that we can prove that to you guys is by being different than how it's been in the past. And I feel I can say that because I was on it last year. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of like rah-rah at the beginning, January, whoop whoop. Then we all get selling houses as we should, and it can trickle away. But I think culture, community, I mean, those words that we've already talked about, they do need some proof behind them. I think there's a lot of agents here who are waiting they're watching, right? They're on the sidelines and they're watching, and they're not gonna be a personality where they jump right in because yes, they're rah-rah in the beginning. Like, I'm very much that way. I want good things for everyone. But there are people who are gonna be waiting to see, hey, is this good? And it's really up to us. That's the best way I can answer that, is keeping accountable, but in a way, you guys can keep us accountable too. I mean, if it's November or August, July, whatever, and you're like, hey, I was really excited about this committee and now I'm just not really hearing anything. We need to hear that. I do. I know I do. If I have people coming to me with issues that I can make better, Ben knows, he tells me to go wash his car, I'm gonna go wash his car. Like, but if I think I should wash Ben's car and he never says anything, I'm never gonna go wash Ben's car. So to that point, if we have somebody coming up to us outside of even our normal people, that's like, hey, haven't seen a meeting about this, you know? Of course, out of an attitude of love and respect preferably.
Yes.
I think that's the encouragement and the accountability behind it. And that's the best answer I can give you. I'm not gonna promise you anything other than like, we've got a different plan and we'll go from there.
We're gonna come from contribution and receive contribution as well.
I'll add to that too. I think now, since we all are like chair, co-chair, we have someone else to hold us accountable to. So there's two of us instead of one with no direction.
Absolutely.
And I will add to that, as what they're saying, last year for myself, I really didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. It wasn't even a rah-rah, but I just really did not know. And so this year, super excited. And then again, with him and then everybody working together, I really do feel, I know that this year will be different. So I apologize to, you know, whoever wanted to be a part of my committee and just the lack thereof. But like, Brittany was saying, hold each other accountable, and just having now co-chair and somebody to work with as a team, then that kind of keeps that fire lit up under, you know, all of us. So yeah, grace, yeah.
I love the buddy system for these committees. Whose idea was that?
It just happened.
No, I think it's
They
great.
asked if we could co-chair, and I said, of course, you can be a part of any committee you want.
Yeah.
And then we got really excited.
And as many committees as you want.
Well, I think it levels up the accountability, and it doesn't put it on any one person's shoulders, right? But at the end of the day, how we show up here is how we show up everywhere.
Mhm.
Step one, we have to show up consistently.
Exactly
And,
right.
and we have a buddy we can lean into. That's cool.
Yeah, Nancy?
One of the questions, when you asked why do I want to be on the ALC, I like to be a part of a community. And that I like being part of the community of the ALC because we hold each other accountable. We can, you know, talk, collaborate. I think also collaborating with each other, with all agents is so important. I think Zoom is good, but I also think being at meetings in person is super important. So I mean, we'll offer Zoom, I guess, if we need to.
For
for like,
Your committee
for
meeting?
growth, yeah.
Yeah, your committee meetings will
Yeah.
be Zoom. Career night probably won't be Zoom, but
But,
career.
but I also would really like for people to come together.
Good catch.
Thank you. I guess.
Nice
So
reflexes.
for growth, we'll also have in-person. It'll be fun.
Quick question.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Culture, growth, what else is that?
What's that?
Education and technology.
Education and technology?
Mhm.
Is that accurate? I'm not.
No. But
No,
make
no,
it-
make one.
Because
But
we're
I
also-
think, I think we need to talk a little bit more in depth about what each
Yeah.
one, I mean, I know you touched on it, but do you guys really understand what each one is?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can walk through, well, culture committee is for, like I said, one red day, but it's for creating a community within the office. It's also for things like that, I was proud of at my previous market center that I know that, the wonderful people here will help out with as well, is that people are in need, you're gonna reach out and help, right? Does that make sense? You got, somebody sick, we're gonna tend to them if they need it, right? We're gonna reach out, check on them. I do.
While you're going through the cultures, like what they are in the communities, would you be able to give like an example? Like just project wise, I mean, what people would, when it comes to, there's vendors talking and you hear big words like that, like specifics. I guess for me, personally, I mean, kind of how, how with the culture, how specifically, I mean, kind of like this idea.
Okay, well, I'll give you ideas that worked well for me previously. We've worked, this is my first year with you guys, so we would have, every quarter, we would have a potluck at the office. Not around anything, we just have a potluck, like the office would supply the meat, and then everybody would bring a dish and dessert, and we'd usually have 30 or 40 people show up to eat lunch. While we're eating lunch, when you get 30, 40 realtors sitting at the table eating lunch, what's gonna happen? You wanna talk about real estate, right? Teresa's gonna ask questions about new stuff, and, Aaron's gonna ask questions about Marlene, what's going on with you? So it's that, for example, anything we can do to grow community within the office and help the community outside the office is the culture committee. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Like the caring,
Yeah.
culture and caring.
Yeah. We did things like if, somebody was in the hospital, we took her out. I like to give a good example. We had one of my favorite people down there. Tracy Mayhew was her name. She, got diagnosed with breast cancer during COVID time. Was in the hospital and had her mastectomy. While she was recovering, she caught COVID. And then her husband caught COVID. And her kids caught COVID. So us as a market center brought them every meal that they ate for 2 weeks. Right? And the agents paid for it. Not, the market center didn't pay for it, the agents paid for it. They just volunteered. I'll take them lunch, I'll take them breakfast. And it was just, and when you create that kind of community with people, the community, helping in true care, it just steps everything up one notch further. Does that make sense? And Tracy, it's been 2 years and she still talks about it anytime she walks in the market center. She said it's more than just what Keller Williams can give me is becoming a better realtor. It's who the people are in the office. Do y'all agree with that? Yeah. And the culture committee is gonna grow with who that we represent. Is that good?
Yeah.
Good. The tech committee, of course, is gonna help us get into better, it's not just command, but it is command. But it's also gonna be anything tech that will help you as a realtor. Or help you with your business, right?
Who's on tech committee?
Right now, it's Brian and Mal. And I think Scotty B can attest that he's learned a little bit about command that's helped him realize that it is pretty good. It's pretty good stuff.
It's gotten good.
Yeah.
It didn't start out so good.
Well, I said is the current.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, it was not great.
Yeah.
But, and as I also say, especially if your new agents getting in, don't try to learn all of it at once, because it's a lot. Learn your database. Then maybe learn how to do smart plans. Just learn a little bit of it. Does that make sense? But we'll also, my goal is to have a minimum of 2 command classes a month in the market center. Mallory's got her calendar out. If you need a one-on-one with her, schedule a one-on-one with her. And on top of that, we're gonna do the Scott Leroy things. And if you need, and what they will do as a committee is get together and find out what is something we really need to teach and people aren't really asking yet. Like Travis came up and talked about AI, things about what are they not asking that we need help with. They'll find out things like that.
Mike Hillary will meet with them as well, like
Yeah.
we did with Scott's team to help them with
So you
transition.
you team owners, like Brandon, I see you on the screen there, reach out to Mike Hillary. I know I've mentioned it to you about 2 or 3 times. And it's on his time, it's not on Mike's time, but it will help you. The team, it's even like you and Frankie, getting your command set up really perfect for a husband and wife team. That's a good reason to reach out to Hillary also. Did I cover it all? Did I miss anything?
No,
Education.
you got growth and education.
Growth, education, tech,
You just did that.
safety. We will have a safety committee somewhat by KWRI policy, which I didn't really learn until like my last year down in Kentucky, is that we're supposed to have one safety meeting every 6 months. That will be done in team meetings. We will talk about safety once every 6 months.
We'll allow that into by open houses and stuff like that.
It'll tell, yes, everything. Things as simple as, we talked about this a minute ago. When you go to a showing, don't let anybody block you in. That's it. You don't be the first person to walk into a room. Just small things like that. When you get there first, maybe walk around the house, make sure nobody's sneaking in the back door. Just things like that. We'll discuss things like that.
We got education committee.
Education committee, if you all have ideas of a great class, bring it to the education committee, right? Yeah, that's Lauren and myself, and be prepared. We teach it. Be asked also. You don't have to say yes, but it will be asked probably. Is
So
that,
I think that's something that's great if you are really good at AI. I know we just had somebody come in and do AI. If you're really good at AI or you're really good at photography or whatever it is, you could even be a new agent and have a lot to contribute to other people and teach. So I think, thinking somebody has to be in real estate for so long to teach, not necessarily,
yeah,
there's just a lot, again, collaboration.
and what's the best way to learn something?
Teach it.
Teach it. Teach it. I had a friend of mine that taught golf as a college class and never hit a golf ball in her life. Never hit a golf ball. Even when she would give a demonstration of a swing, she would stop it, pick the club up over the ball, and finish her swing.
Who's on the education committee?
Me and Lauren.
And then we have, growth.
Growth.
Yeah, growth committee. Yeah. Brittany and Nancy, which we talked about a little bit already. Hit on that a little bit already.
So for education and just, bringing that stuff to the committees in general, I mean, double checking, is it okay if people don't have the answer though? And also people who aren't comfortable teach? I mean, kind of
Yes.
opens all,
Yeah.
I guess, feel about us, that's pointed, be prepared to, kind of be put on the spot. Is it okay to not?
Yeah,
Oh,
answer, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, part of, I don't think we've talked about this, part of what we have a group of people doing, as you know, Isaac, our care calls, so reaching out to agents. And one of the biggest questions is, what do you want to see taught in the market center? Like, how can we help you? What question do you have that just came up at a showing and you just want to know? Like, do you want to have an HVAC specialist come in and like teach you how to look at an HVAC? Like, it can be something like that. Or, and if nothing else, maybe we know somebody to connect that person with for quicker answers. But we need these suggestions to be put on our education calendar. Otherwise, it's gonna be classes with zeros because nobody wants to hear what that's about. Or it's not the pain point that they're experiencing that they need help with. So absolutely, if you don't have the answer, still tell us what you wanna hear. For sure.
And a question we get a lot is, what will the commitment be? Because I think a lot of times people are like, well, I wouldn't mind, I'd like to be a part of a committee. Well, what's the commitment? So, and I think it could be different on all of them, but if you want to be a part of a, more than one committee, you can absolutely do that. So, and depending, I think, on how much you're able to commit, I wouldn't want somebody to not be on maybe the educational committee if they feel called, but they are like, gosh, I haven't, I've got kids at home or whatever. Like you kind of said that, but, Ben's like, we'll do it together. So,
And like I said, we'll reinforce, the committee meetings can be over Zoom also. I'm sure they'll ask, can you show up to the market center? Maybe have the meeting here for the people who can and then zoom in the people who can't, or do it 100% Zoom, however you want to do it. But please don't be afraid to be part of the committee. It's really great to help out. It really does help out the market center.
and I think you can try out a couple committees and don't feel like, oh, once you come to my committee, I'm not letting you go. I might not, but I'm kidding, but, I think still a lot of people are maybe a little confused about what each one, but.
And Yeah, good.
So are the agents able to, like, let's say that they, like, this month they wanted to kind of go out with this group, can they get on that Zoom meeting thing, and then next month say they, like, they got some time and they want to teach, can they, is that allowable to be involved?
I mean, that's gonna be up to the committee chairs. So for me, I'm happy with anybody on the education committee to come in, wants to give some information, but I would say there should be like the core, because they commits to one committee or commits to a specific committee. But yeah, if you're not on a committee in 1 month, you think you have some good ideas for education or tech, please jump on the Zoom. The committee meeting will be posted on the public calendar, it won't just be in the committee. Does that make sense?
And they might be different days and times, right?
Right,
Or
well,
people can be on multiple.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't want the committees to all meet on Friday at 2 o'clock. You know, it'll be up to the committee chairs who will decide when the committee meetings are, 100%. Aaron, you have a question?
I ran across a couple agents, newer looking, for brokerage, they just don't know what to ask. And this might already be said, but they don't know what to ask, so is there like really, I'm just, you think we should maybe compile like a list of things that they should know, like things to know, or questions that you may add, that you might want to know or ask, or whatever, that kind of.
As far as,
Career night, that would be something to suggest, but like, even if it was like just I don't know, like a list, like
For each committee.
Like I could walk
Yeah.
into
For each
a
committee,
office and be like, what is this for you? What is this for you?
Yeah.
What is this for you?
I think I'm confident in saying we can definitely get that out there. I think, when you're reaching people for information, you need multiple ways. So this is one way, a list is another way, and, there's gotta be a third way to get it out.
I actually, some of this came up, I was talking to Aiden yesterday while I was here, and don't get me wrong, I bet, she just didn't know, but she was like, well, what should I do first? Like, and, because she hadn't got, I think she didn't get her license yet, it hadn't come yet or whatever, so what do you do first? And I was like, well, I just, I told her, I plugged it now, I plugged it, but I told her, I was like, well, go to Mal, I was like, but, you might want to get your picture done, like, get that done first, because there's certain things down the line, like, or a sign, business card, or whatever, you might want to do, but I told her, really.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
I never got.
Yeah. And Brian also, Brian is showing how to find. You started at 5. No, we're getting close.
Yeah, I have a recommendation for the committee, at least. The one that sticks out to me is education, and I like that one's on that, because she's got a good knack for it. But I think what would be helpful, like for habits that for myself, as you said, I go to church. I couldn't go to church until I set aside time that, okay, on Sunday, I go to church every so often, as you know, from atomic habits, once you have that habit, and that's, oh yeah, Sunday, I feel like I should go home to church, right? It becomes a part. So for the heads of these committees, I would think it'd be helpful to say, okay, it's only 12 months out of the year. And we say, okay, the third Thursday of every month, unless canceled. That way it's something that is gonna start to be like ingrained into the committee chair's head. Like, I can't speak for everybody else, they may not have 12 things that they wanna do, but for education, I mean, there's probably, it's an endless list of things, so. I think that would be.
Today we'll decide, each committee chair will decide when they want to have their meetings, and that'll be out today, and it'll be.
At a minimum, though, I would say, like, if you do it quarterly or further on,
Yeah,
I'll probably forget.
It'll be every month.
Right.
It'll be every month. Well, at least one meeting a month. Yeah. But, yeah, and then they'll put that out there. And if you want to be a part of the committee, that'll be a question you can ask them to make sure it fits with your schedule.
Growth.
Go ahead.
Growth.
Be a part of growth.
No, you didn't go to growth. That's
Growth
what I
committee
mean.
is gonna focus on career night. It's gonna be their major focus as far as growing the market center. And our career nights are gonna be once a month toward the end of the month. Of course, February would be the week before because family reunion is the last week of the month. But we're gonna try to really focus on getting a vendor here for career nights. A small panel of agents here for career nights. And Brian is the new coach. new agent coach will be here, and I'll be here myself for a career night. And we're gonna talk about, actually, essentially, we're gonna try to talk people out of real estate. Yeah, and the reason being is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of people are getting in this business thinking it's easy, it's get rich quick. And well, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna let them know the process to get your license and the cost to get your license. And then I tell them, if you sell a house in the first 6 months, you've done a great job. That's typically pretty odd. Because it takes a while to get the ball rolling, and everybody knows that you don't get paid till you get to the closing table. What I tell them is, you gotta remember, if you get your license today, you get under contract tomorrow, still a month and a half before you get a check. So you gotta think about that. You gotta process that.
And I think it's fair to say that's like the requirement of the growth committee, but I know the growth committee has vision too. I mean, Nancy, you can speak to it, of helping the agents on the committee grow their business too. It's not like they're gonna give and do this career night and all they do is plan career night. That's just like, okay, we have a checklist at minimum.
And that's a new aspect that has just been brought to it, which I think makes a lot of sense, that we can get close with other agents and really help them grow their own businesses.
Right, and yeah, the committee members that are on that will help them grow, and then in turn, they're gonna help somebody else grow. And then that person's gonna help somebody else grow.
I actually kind of feel like if you're trying to grow and you're pouring out the bucket, I mean, you've got to water what we have and help people grow. Then other people are just going to want to come anyway.
With that being said, I think it'd be an awesome idea to, I'm sorry, Amy, did you want?
No, I was just gonna say, like, we had a conversation with someone recently, and this particular agent brought up that as like feeling like our focus was too much on bringing in new agents and not enough on the agents that we already have, especially people that haven't been in it in a while. We're still going through the same challenges that even the new agents are when the years are not great.
Yeah.
Like, some people that have been in the who've been in the industry for 10 years had their worst year last year. Like, they're going, you know what I mean?
Most
And
agents
so-
in the country are.
Right, and so like, that's kind of when we had this conversation with this other agent, she had mentioned, she had said, I think that there's so much more potential for Keller Williams agents. And we're just not, it's not happening. Like,
So my follow-up question, does that agent show up to classes and team meetings consistently? Not trying to call out somebody, but.
No, I mean, could come more, so, but that's something that she felt like there wasn't much focus on agents that were already here, though. She kind of felt like coming wasn't doing much for her growth.
Right.
Like, it wasn't really like how to, and so that's just something that I'm glad that Nancy, obviously, been in the industry a long time. And
I feel like it's almost even more important to grow where we are and who we are. And certainly bring more in to continue to grow, but you can't.
I think Aaron knows that's my mindset.
Yeah.
To that point, to what they're saying, because think about it this way, so like you just gave 3 ideas, and I think they all can be melded into one. You talk about bringing in your vendor, do career night, right? But you also do education with growth, right? And so like, if you think, remember Lucas, that, I don't know if did we talk about the artist formerly known as Keller Williams agents? Did we do that here? I'm gonna use that as an example. Like, I work here late sometimes because it's just better for me. Like, I feel like I'm like in the zone. I don't know, everybody, some people does it different times, right? So if we're doing education on, let's just say social media, for example, which is a great time for me to do social media because I can, the lighting I can control and have my lights and stuff like that. Me, Lucas, we'll be up here, we're buzzing around, we're still working. If I'm working on mailers late at night, sometimes I'm like, oh, I was at the office earlier today. Sometimes I'm just not feeling the daytime. You see what I'm saying? If we had a career night, at the career nights, it could be pretty boring, right? It's like, oh, it looks like real estate agents. Well, most of us are already real estate agents. So if we have career night, co-located in the same time frame as the education classes. So if a new agent came in, it's like, wow, they're 6 o'clock at night because we have a flexible schedule, but that still means that sometimes we don't work 9 to 5, we work a little bit later, right? So Lauren's in here giving a class on, well, customer care, Popeyes, right? She does Popeyes pretty well. So we're here, buzzing around the office. People come in, it's like, okay, well, we got a new agents in here. Nancy can do the whole career night thing. So I think in that regard, you're pouring into the people that we have, right? Some people work, we have part-time agents that work during the day. So that's another time to capture those people. We don't really have a ton of things in the evening time, and I'm repeating myself now, but I personally, I could probably go till 3, you know, AM. I'm a night person, really, to be honest with you. So if you guys want to build in that regard, I think having somebody in the evening.
Yeah, and those I would see are more the one-off than the main group of people. And this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think.
Sorry.
Okay, I think that we've got the plan around the 90 to 95%, and then have an alternate plan for the 5%. Does that make sense when I say that?
But I think you're right. I think that's good that missing out on that would be a great thing to implement some.
Collaboration.
Yeah, in the evenings.
That's what I was bringing up with Lucas, like, if I'm here with Lucas, I'm, hey, Lucas, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So I'll actually get more done in that hour or two that I'm here, and they're like, okay, I'm headed out, whatever. Or, matter of fact, I used to do it last year, where it was like, I would stay here on purpose on the nights of the RIA, Fort Wayne RIA. So I'm like, well, since I'm gonna go to the Fort Wayne RIA anyway, I'll just stay up here in the office and start working on stuff. So we have a little class or whatever. So I'm doing multiple, you know, realtor activities, that way I can get to know, you know, flippers and all that kind of stuff like that. So I mean, I just think the evening with combining those things could be.
Yeah, we could try to throw a few evening classes on the education schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we could definitely do that.
Partner with Griffin, good idea.
I think the collaboration of all the committees and all of us, which I thought was another cool thing when we were all talking together, is that we're all kind of gonna be helping each other,
Mhm. Yeah,
you know?
so that's close, because I know we're getting ready at 12 o'clock. Did we get everything answered on Zoom, Aaron, do you think?
There were no questions.
Nobody on Zoom had any questions
Yeah,
whatsoever?
I asked questions and, Adriana replied, but I think she's, excited to learn and interested to, perhaps be part of a growth and or culture committee.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Thank you. So I've got, 2 words that I like to focus on for this market center this year. If anybody wants to add to it, please. But the first one is family. I want us to be a big family, which means family doesn't always get along, right? But family works stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't always like my family, but I always love them. Does that make sense when I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you wanna keep them.
And I want to keep them always, 100%. And that's always got to be a win-win, right? My second one is collaboration. I want us to do a better job of getting people to show up for things like this. So everybody in this room, I want you to invite somebody to the next team meeting. Right? When's the next one, Isaac?
February 1st.
February 1st?
Yeah.
Is it?
No, that's a Thursday.
Yeah.
That's, you know, good job.
Yeah.
The first Tuesday of February, whatever number that is.
Okay, first Tuesday of February. Everybody here, I want you to invite at least one person to the team meeting. If you need a script for that, I have what I like to call the headlock script that we can use to get people in. So that means you've got 2 arms, so you can get 2 people in here, right? For the headlock script. It takes a second sometimes to travel, I guess, to travel across the room. So.
Oh, Brandon said Lauren forgot to pick me up or I would have been there in person. Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you. I'm gonna put him under the bus right now. Did I not call you yesterday and say, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And you said, oh, I'm busy all day. And I said, no, you're not. You said, you're right. My schedule's wide open. I said, perfect. You could be at team meeting with me. And then the weather was bad at his house. So, you know, we just did his house.
It was. I did manage to make it to my office, so I'm present.
Proud of you.
And don't, at least don't back up the bus, right?
Yeah.
Just one time.
He's moving forward. He's on Zoom. He's good.
That's right. Marlene, yeah.
Okay, I know you're about done. Okay, so one of the things I wanna get better at, like, talking in front of a group of people, because it makes me really nervous. I'm new at this. But I think that, the thought that was just coming to my head as I was listening to everyone is, I think, attraction rather than promotion works really well. And I want us to be a group of people that are having so much fun, selling so many houses that people can't help but want to join us, you know? And I think, you know, we can promote anything out there, you know, like our jobs are to promote. We have listings that we're promoting. We're promoting ourselves on social media. But as a group, let's become so much fun that we just attract people to us versus us trying to promote what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Things like this, like Scotty P taking these pictures. Yeah, like, Scotty B taking pictures today, you're gonna post those on Facebook, if you do things like that, and even if you're not the one posting them and you're the one sharing them. Like James Reeser, everybody, it's James Reeser today.
Happy birthday.
All right, Marlene,
Hey, it's not James' birthday. It's not James's birthday.
We jumped on that one.
We're just a group having fun.
Yeah.
But doing things like that, it really helps, because people they start asking questions, what is the ALC? They're gonna be curious, and they'll ask,
We're gonna have fun.
yeah,
Y'all wanna be on the culture committee?
yeah.
Let me know, cause we're getting ready to have a good time.
All right, I know it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's 12 o'clock, and if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're gonna go back into the conference room, order some lunch, and we'll be there till 3. And going forward, the ALC meetings will be on the calendar. Everybody is invited to the ALC meetings, okay? Anybody that wants to come to an ALC meeting can come. That doesn't mean you can participate. You can come and listen. Okay? Does that make
Still
sense?
less invited to speak
Yes,
about
yes,
certain
yes.
things.
Does that make sense?
Can I just stand outside the window and look in?
You can.
That's kind of me, us, so yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. We were flamingoing over.
Uh,
I know, we had the flamingo. We did.
I'm buying one, just for you.
I need it.
Everybody's invited to every ALC meeting.
Okay.
Okay, you're not, if you're asked to participate, you can, but otherwise it's there to listen.
You're an observer.
Yes. Any other questions for the ALC before we go eat food? I really appreciate all of y'all coming in, and we got 2 minutes of James, which is a lot. Because we love James and he's full of great information, and we're all smart.
Too much.
It's almost too much, yeah. But I really appreciate you guys coming. I appreciate you guys zooming in.
So when and how do we get?
We got you down. We got you. All right.
You'll get a call. You'll get a call, because they're gonna recruit people to their committees. So, but thank you guys. I appreciate you a bunch. Thank you.